Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of TaskHuman Talks. I'm your host and fellow wellness provider, Jamie Carroll. And today we have the amazing Candy Liwanag. We're laughing because I'm trying to pronounce her name right. And she is one of our health and wellness coaches on the TaskHuman app. Welcome,
Yeah.
Candy.
Hi, it's so great to be here.
Yay, so excited. Where
Yeah.
are you located in the world too?
I'm actually living in the Philippines.
Okay.
Yeah, I think right now, I'm not sure if it's in the evening for you or it's in the
It's morning for me. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the evening right now here.
Okay. Well, so glad that we could connect and do this and that you can share everything with all of our listeners. One of the things I really want to talk about is your work as a trapeze artist. Okay. And coach too. So, how
Yeah.
long have you been doing that work? Why don't you kind of dive into that?
Actually, I started flying 2014.
Okay.
So the school opened here. That's the only flying trapeze school in the Philippines,
Okay.
2014.
All right.
And then I haven't stopped flying since then. Well, because of the pandemic, right?
Right.
We're not able to fly, but excuse me, 2014. And then I started as a coach 2016. So I was showing up every day. It was funny
Okay.
because the only days that they're closed are actually Mondays. So I'm going to
Okay.
be there from Tuesday until Sunday
Wow.
after work hours, and that's around like 4 or 5 hours of training time. And
Wow.
yeah, that's dedication right there.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. So that, and then I've been a flying trapeze artist. Then I started
Okay.
coaching children because
Okay.
the trapeze school, that's actually a part of the international school's curriculum. So I started teaching as young as 5, I guess, 5 or 6.
Wow.
Yeah, they're very adventurous children.
Oh my
And
God.
then, yeah, until I think around 15, 16.
Okay.
Yeah, and then after a few years, well, after 2016,
Hmm.
I started coaching from different races,
Wow.
different ages, from the youngest to the oldest. I think the oldest was around 70. He tried
Like,
flying once.
that is amazing.
Yeah.
That's really
So,
cool. What got you started? I've never talked to someone who flies or is a trapeze artist. So how did you get started into this?
well, I've been really an athlete since I was a kid.
Okay.
So I love sports so much. I think I got it from my dad because he's been an athlete as well. So I tried all sorts, like tennis, volleyball, basketball, even at my small height. I tried that.
Oh my
Football.
gosh.
Yeah,
Wow.
so it's a lot of sports, even fencing.
Okay.
I took fencing. And then for some weird reason, I told my husband was still my boyfriend then, I told him, you
Yeah.
know what, I want something different. So I kind of Googled extreme sports. And then
Okay.
the school came out, and I'm
Okay.
like, oh, okay, now I want to try this. So I just signed up on my own without any friends, without, well, not even my husband. Like, it was just
Wow.
literally me. And then I took the class. I think that was around the 6 o'clock class.
Hmm.
And then after the first jump, I knew it. And this is it. I'm like, gonna be hooked.
So let's kind of backtrack a little bit first, and then I want to
Yeah.
talk more about this. So, as a child, you received like a diagnosis of some sort, right? Is that kind of
Yeah.
what spawned your active lifestyle? Because you mentioned that you're into a lot of sports, and we're always active as a child. So,
Yeah.
tell us a little bit more about that journey.
Well, I've been a very sickly child, and I
Okay.
used to think that it's just, genetics, and you really
Yeah.
can't do anything about it, right? I mean, like, that's what they tell you when you're younger.
Right. Yeah.
So sports was a way for me to like push myself to the limit and
Okay.
understand that, okay, I'm capable of these things.
Hmm.
Um, it's not only the healthy children who's
Yeah.
capable of these things. And yeah, it went on from that. But it's not really just, it was mostly physical strength then,
Yeah.
like just being competitive with sports and whatnot. But
Right.
after a few years, especially when you get older,
Hmm.
okay, so it's not just the physical aspect of it.
Right.
So
It's also the competition. And what you said you like wanted to change, back in 2014. What was that about? Like what do you think was the desire behind wanting that change? Like what was going on there?
well, I was always in and out of the hospital and it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't fun. I mean, like, I didn't want to spend the rest of my life in and out of the hospital.
Yeah.
So that, and then I had around 2012, actually, I think that was the turning point
Mm-hmm.
because 2012, I had a major operation at 26.
Okay.
So now you know how old I am. But please don't put me
I
this, but
can't do the math that quick.
yeah, I mean, like, if you backtrack on this video, they're probably like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you're gonna count
Yeah.
me." But anyway, it doesn't really matter. I mean, age is just a
Okay.
number, right? But
Right.
so 2012, I was diagnosed with juvenile rheumatoid arthritis at a
Okay.
very, very young age.
Right.
And then also I had a major operation. So I'm like, you know what? Um, this is not, I don't want this to be my life forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if they tell you, you really can't do anything about it. Here are some meds and just take it, right?
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, I just really had and was really committed to, changing my life entirely.
Wow. And is
Yeah.
that too, do you think you wanted like something a little bit more adventurous? I mean, because I feel
Yeah.
like going to a trapeze, like, I don't know if that would be my initial, well, I'm scared of heights. So I've got a
Yeah,
whole bunch of things going on there, but like,
right.
I don't know if that would be my initial go-to. So you have a little bit of an adventurous side and
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it's also it's kind of like a cliche, but
Yeah.
you really have this one life, right? So
Hmm.
might as well like have fun with it, like be purposefully and intentionally like in the moment where you are at the present. And I
Yeah.
think that trapeze like really gave that, because the first jump, it was very liberating, and I was like, you know what, that split second of just jumping and just feeling the wind in your face and all of these
Yeah.
things, yeah, kind of like really changed me.
Wow. I can imagine. You've also said too that like doing trapeze and flying has helped you with patience, trust, strength, courage.
Yeah,
How has that helped you with all of these things?
it looks like, I mean, when you look at the sport, it's like it looks so easy, like when you
Yeah.
watch it, right? And
Yeah.
any Cirque du
Yeah.
Soleil or whatever video that you watch, it looks so graceful and
It
so
does.
so easy. But when you get there, actually it's more of like it's a mental training. So when I meant patience, it was more of actually the patience with yourself more than anything else,
Right.
because sometimes you really get the trick on one go, and then on other days it's so bad that you even question yourself, why am I even here in the first place? I mean,
Yeah.
you kind of get that. And
Yes.
then yeah, so it's more of that, and
Okay.
really the patience that you really need to put time and
Mhm.
effort and just be kind to yourself in the process, because if you're going to beat yourself up like, I should be getting this at this point in time,
Yeah.
and yeah, it kind of gets inside your head and messes you up. And definitely when you jump and you kind of think of that in your head, you
Yeah.
can't deal with the entire time you're training. So yeah, so that's patience. And then trust, is trusting yourself. I mean, the fear
Yeah.
of falling, right? I mean, like a lot of
Yeah.
people,
We'll get to that too, because I want to talk about about the
yeah,
falling.
but
But
really
yeah.
it's trusting yourself, like you can do it, because it takes about, it's less than a minute to jump, do a trick, get caught, go back to the bar and go back to the board. So it's less than a
Wow.
minute to do everything.
Yeah.
And that split second, and also trusting your catcher, your troop, because I'm actually the only female flyer here in the Philippines.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because it's not a common sport here. I mean,
Okay.
we've had circus around 1980s, and then one of the coaches that I work with, which also is my circus brother, was a part of that family. So we kind of lost that when we started to have this technology and all the malls and all these
Yeah.
things that entertain you.
Right.
So yeah, so it's the trust with the people that you are working with,
Right.
and because you do have a net. I mean, like it's easy to trust with the lines, but once you get that off, it's the person's going to catch you. The person's going to get you on the board. And besides my husband, the other people that I trust with my life with are my circus brothers. Just my
Right.
brothers. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you often fly without a,
Yeah.
what did you call it? A
The harness.
harness? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just wear the harness when I need to do tricks. And then I
Okay.
take it out probably around 2 to 3 runs of the trick.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So other things, strength and courage,
Yeah.
I think they both
Yeah.
play not just the physical strength, but courage to like be resilient about it.
Yeah.
Because it's as I mentioned, it's mental training more than anything else. Like any other sport. I mean, it doesn't look like a sport. It
Right.
looks like an entertainment,
Right.
sort of like an art form. It's both art and sport.
Yeah.
But the mental training of just doing the trick, nailing the trick, getting caught, again, going back to the bar and making sure that you're not going to fall, or if you're going to fall, the awareness, the body awareness of how to
Yeah.
like twist to the net, all of those things, like in a span of like, I don't know, 30 seconds, 30 to 45 seconds of doing everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
gonna teach you
interesting
that.
too, because when you said, like, I'm thinking right now, like, do you think it's more mental, the art of flying, or more like skill, or both?
Actually, it's both. It's
Yeah.
like any other sport, like any other athlete, it's the mental training
Yeah.
of just like pushing through. Because sometimes it's just really it gets you really bogged down. Like it's a
Mhm.
hard, it's you come in there and you're not even sure, you have this hesitation, am I going to do this trick right now, or I'm not, or I'm going to do this different trick. And it's just really committing to just being dedicated to the sport. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's because a lot of people fall out with trapeze
Right.
after a few months. They're like, you know what, this is not for me.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah.
Now, I feel like these two, like, do you help your clients who you work with this, like the patience, trust, strength, courage? I feel like
Yeah.
can be in so many, like even just starting a workout, like it could just be like even a body weight workout. And I love to
Definitely.
like what you mentioned with like falling, right? And so it's almost like learning to fall. And that's why I love, like, even in exercise, it's like ground movements, because I feel like when we can teach ourselves to fall, like that's
Yeah.
a skill almost that can carry over in life.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
like people see fitness as just like, working out and just
yeah.
really losing weight, but actually
Right.
it's more than that. It's just showing up for yourself. And
Yes.
despite everything that's happening in your life, right?
Right.
Just showing up for yourself. I think that teaches us a lot in our life, like whatever whatever comes our way, like falling
Yes.
forward, right? I mean, like
Yeah.
whatever happens, if we fall forward and then we learn from that. So I think it's just, wearing your socks before you work out, like one step
Right.
at a time,
Yeah.
showing up. It teaches us a lot of that, and just, showing up for
Yeah.
the fitness training or whatnot.
100%, that patience, trust, strength, courage that you were learning in the gym or learning with your activity can be applied to
Yes,
real life, because
definitely,
you're
definitely.
going to show up for yourself when something bad happens, like
Yeah,
it's like
and
you're going to be there for yourself still. And like you're learning to
definitely.
harness your own power almost as
Yeah. And
well.
it's more of like an internal motivator because it comes from you.
Yes.
And it's not from, well, we have the external motivators,
Right.
right? We're here as
Right.
coaches
Exactly.
for a lot of our clients. But at the end of the day, once you have that, when you learn that internal motivation, nothing will come your way.
Yeah,
Regardless
exactly.
if it's a deadline at work, or it's the weight that you just added like 10 pounds, right? It's
Yeah.
moving past that.
Yes. Yeah. And then also, like, we could probably keep talking about this the whole time, but like
Yeah.
also like having patience with yourself, right? Because like too, when you're in the gym or you're trying a new move,
Definitely.
yeah, you don't, it's like stick with it, like you can do it. And then also like when you're dealing with something hard in life, we kind of have setbacks. It's like, oh, today's a good day. Today's not a good day. But it's like having that
Yeah.
patience with yourself to know that and trust that you're on the right path. Oh,
Because definitely with patience, kind of get that acceptance, like, okay, this is what I can do right now.
Yeah.
And you're being kind to yourself in the process.
Yes.
So yeah, it looks like it's like, it doesn't look like it's there, but actually it's teaching you a lot of those things with.
Yeah, this is awesome. And so let's talk about injuries and falls. Have you ever had any injuries and falls from your work flying? Yeah.
Definitely. Because I train so much, like in a week, especially when we were doing a lot of shows, then it would take me around, maybe in a day, like 4 hours straight of training.
Wow.
And that's like multiplied to 6. Let me check. Like around 24 hours for the entire week of training.
Yeah.
So yes, I do get a lot of bad falls. I actually went to the hospital for an injured elbow because I kind of twisted my elbow. I've had therapies for my back and my shoulder for a few years, and especially in the beginning, because you're like just eager to get into the sport. And then I realized after a few years, okay, it's taking care of your body as well. So it's condition, so much conditioning, more than the actual work itself.
Right.
And because it's not a common sport, like you get conditioning for, let's say, when you play basketball or whatnot, but this one's so different. So it's kind of hard to find a proper way to condition. So over the years, we kind of learned that with our group, and also how to treat those, let's say you got injuries. But by the end of the few years that I was flying until the pandemic, I was actually able to sustain flying so much that my hands were, I mean, if you know, it's similar to gymnastics with the hands.
Right.
So you kind of get calluses and you get pops and bleeding and all these things.
Yeah.
So I was able to sustain not having that for a while. Yeah, because we were having so much shows. So you really can't afford to have any injuries or. But yes, falls are so common with trapeze.
And what kind of exercise, if any, do you guys supplement with the trapeze work that kind of helps with either falling or even like hands? Is that just over time? Anything that you
do? With the hands, actually, it's the grips. So it's similar with gymnastics, the grips that we're using, but it's not like the leather thing. And then for the shoulders, it's normal. It's mobility, a lot of mobility work and endurance work. And of course, strength. It's core work, like the entire body. We've had to do that even because normally when you're a trapeze artist, your core is really, really strong. So we have to like train our backs as well to be as strong as the core. Besides that, training physically, there's also, of course, the nutrition side of things.
Yes, that's one thing I want to talk about too, is the nutrition side. Well, let's touch on that in just a minute. One of the things I want to ask you about trapeze as well is I'm curious to know, like, when you take a class, like back in 2014, when you're like, hey, I'm going to go to the studio and take a class, what does a class look like?
Well, the class would actually explain to you, okay, so this is what you need to know when you jump. And then they're going to put on the belt, and then they're going to ask you to hold onto the A-frame and then hold onto the bar and not push your butt out, because sometimes that's what happens when you get scared when you're on the board. How to fall, how to hook your legs onto, there's just one trick that they're going to teach you. It's a knee hang. So they're going to teach you that. They're going to teach you how to catch and then how to fall on the net.
Wow. I feel like that's a lot for.
Yeah, that is a lot.
First class. How many people were like in a class when you
in a class? It's normally around 10 people. Yeah. And then there's that's around 2 hours. But sometimes the first hour you're like super tired already. Yeah, most of the people just give up like after 30 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Because they're tired already. Yeah.
Yeah, I can. I want to talk about fear too. So we talked about your falling and how that definitely is something that's most
Yeah.
likely going to happen. Did you ever have a fear of falling? And how do you overcome the fear, or did you overcome?
Actually, it's I'm not gonna say like I'm not gonna be boastful that I'm not scared of falling. I
Yeah.
think it's more of not getting back up when you
Okay.
fall. Um, I think it's because you're always out of your comfort zone, especially
Right.
when you're out of the lines. If you're
Yeah.
just doing it by yourself,
Right.
which we go back to the trust in
Yeah,
yourself, right?
exactly.
We gotta go
All those
back
words.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, right? You kind of look back there, but
Yeah.
um, so it's actually injuring myself. So if I don't do it
Okay.
right, if I'm not being aware of like the entire routine, I
Yeah.
think that's where I'm scared because it would mean if I injure myself, it would mean I won't fly the next day.
Right.
So yeah, that's the thing that I feared the most.
Okay.
I think there was also a point in time, although my coach stopped me from. My coach is also part of the troop that I'm
Okay.
flying with. Um, I told them because there's this one coach, a male coach. He's always pushing himself to the limit. So I always look
Okay.
up to him because he's like my big brother. And there was this one time that he flew just stretched out and then went back to the board without a net. And then I told him, I can do that too. And my coach actually told me, you know what? No, I know you're crazy. I know you love this sport so much and you're gonna die for it, but no, I'd
Oh,
rather not have. But
yeah.
I'm not that's how much I love the sport so much. And
Right.
I'm not scared of it. It's just, it's just the fear of injuring myself. So I really, really make sure that when I do like a trick or when I do a catch, I was even catching. I'm also the first catcher. It's funny because I'm always the first here, but I
Okay.
also catch people.
Okay.
So it's also the fear of, not really the fear of falling, but it's just really injuring yourself. So yeah.
And so to kind of overcome that, it sounds like you're just creating a lot of awareness in what
Yes,
you're
yes,
doing and like
definitely.
really a lot of presence. What would you say to people like who also, I feel like fear is kind of a rampant thing that we're experiencing right now in the
Yeah.
world,
Yeah.
collectively, or, you could even equate that individually, like kind of like afraid of getting started in a new routine or with their health and wellness. What do you say to people that may be kind of in that space?
You know, the fear is actually just if we overcome that, you're really going to find something surprising with yourself. So
Yeah.
sometimes it's the fear of not having to do it is the fear
Right.
itself. Does that make sense? I mean, like I feel like it's there, like
Yeah.
um if you don't try it, you're really not going to know if you're capable or not because
Right.
sometimes it's the fear that's limiting you to be the best version of yourself. I think that's where I want to
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I know what you mean. And it's like you're
Yeah.
missing out on finding, what did you say there? Like finding something about yourself or within yourself
Like
when
the
you're,
best version of yourself. Like
yeah,
if like as small as like putting a little bit more weight into your
right.
like what you need to carry,
Yeah.
you're gonna find something really surprising about yourself if you just overcome a little bit of the fear, not really
Yeah.
totally, but at least a step forward.
I love
You're gonna
that's great.
notice that, yeah, you're gonna notice that, oh, okay, so it wasn't as scary as I thought it would be, right?
Yeah. I love that. Like finding that surprise about yourself, like you don't want to miss out on
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Awesome. And so I want to tune into the nutrition part too.
Yeah,
Because I know that you work with clients in nutrition and meal prep and clean eating.
yeah,
And that's
yeah.
also important as the work that you do flying. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, number one, because the energy that you spend, you really need to eat,
Yeah,
right?
I can
And you
imagine.
really
Yeah.
need, yeah. And um over the years, I kind of learned how to eat what works for me. So
Okay.
it's the foundational, I mean, everything starts with the foundation, right? You're eating
Yeah.
slowly,
Right.
mindfully, you stop when you're full and whatnot. So it kind of teaches you your body cues.
Okay.
Again, internal cues,
Right.
right? It's not the because sometimes you kind of people ask me, especially when I was flying then, what's your diet? What's your secret? of being
Right.
able to stay fit and whatnot. But it's mostly just, have your greens, have your vegetables, have your protein, the carbohydrates. I mean, like, have food and enjoy
Right.
food,
Yeah.
right? Because it becomes work if you think about how much do I need in a day,
I
right?
know.
But it's just like tuning into what your body needs and what your body doesn't need. So, for example, over the years I've learned, okay, I'm intolerant to these food,
Okay.
or I'm my body's being like inflamed with these types of foods. And
Right.
over
Yeah.
the years I kind of learned that. But I just really make sure that in my plate I have the vegetables, I have my protein, I have my carbohydrates, the healthy dietary fats,
Okay.
and just really listening to my body. If because I'm a type of person who eats 6 meals a day, six
Okay.
small meals in a day. And it's not, it's just like what works for you. And
I
then
love
that's
that
just
you're mentioning that too, because it's so like you eat 6 meals a day. I'm the type of person that has 2 meals a day. I
yeah.
completely, I don't eat till like 1 in the afternoon. I have a
Hmm.
very big meal, like a lot of
Yeah.
food, and then a little bit for dinner. And that just works for me,
Yeah.
my energy, my body. And like you have 6 meals. And so it sounds like really it's about tuning in and listening and creating
Yes,
that awareness
definitely.
around yourself. And that's something that you're helping people do.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. And also, I mean, at the end of the day, as a coach, right? I mean, us as coaches,
Yeah.
the people are actually I kind of treat it as we're the tour guides of
Yep.
the people themselves. They're the
Yeah.
country. And you know what? You haven't discovered this side of you, that you love this
Yeah.
type of food or whatnot, or this is the habit that works for you. So I
Yeah.
guess that kind of plays a lot of a role when we're coaching, and
Right.
how we transform that from nutrition or fitness into the clients itself.
Yeah.
Them.
Yeah. And two, like meal prep, like how important is meal prep? Because I'm sure you get a lot of calls on that as well.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, I feel like people always have questions on meal prepping. How important is
definitely.
that? And how do
Well,
you
for
tackle
meal
that?
prepping, well, what we can do with that, what I'm thinking, I mean,
Mhm.
with a lot of the clients that I'm working, again, it's what works for you.
Right.
For
Yeah.
example, if you're a busy mom, then you only have around like 30 minutes in your day, then let's pick something that usually is easy for you to make, right? I mean, like,
Yeah.
that can work for a mom who's busy,
Right. Yeah.
or for, let's say, an executive who's,
Yeah.
for them it's accessible to just have meal plans coming into their homes, like meal
Hmm.
deliveries.
Yeah.
So the convenience over anything, that's where we start normally with
Okay.
coaching, right? But again, it differs from one person to the other. What works for one doesn't work for the other, and you kind of you kind of personalize that in the person who's right in front of you when you're coaching.
Yeah.
So, but definitely meal preps are important, because you kind of shape your path um, to healthy, sort of a healthy lifestyle. Because when you meal prep, you kind of prepare yourself, and it's
Yeah.
already there. You kind of um, intentionally set your day. Okay, this is what I'm going to eat, right?
Yes, you have
Um,
that prepared.
yeah.
That's how I feel about my coffee in the morning. I like to
Yeah.
prepare it the night before.
Yeah.
So it's just ready to go first thing in the
Yep.
morning.
Definitely.
It's the same type of thing, like you're just because
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I don't want to do it now. Or like, you know what I mean? It's even though you think that like, oh, it's not that important,
Yeah.
that can be a really big game changer to like even creating that healthy lifestyle where people really want to
Definitely.
start. Yeah.
Definitely.
I noticed one of the things that you do work with your clients on the app is trapeze fitness. Like, how does that work
Well,
virtually without
that
like all the apparatus? Like, what's
yeah,
that look like?
that works with conditioning. So
Okay.
normally, as I mentioned earlier, it's condition.
Right.
Sometimes it takes you around an hour or so to condition, and then it takes you 7 minutes of flight time.
Right.
So it's more conditioning more than anything else. It's, again, the mobility of the
Okay.
work that you need to put in, the endurance, because it's a lot of, it doesn't look like, it looks like an upper body movement, but
Right. It
actually
does.
full body. I
Okay.
mean, the moment that you lift your legs up and then you swing your legs and whatnot. So endurance is a lot of
Okay.
that. And of course, strength training.
Right.
So um, other than the range of motion of your shoulders
Hmm.
and your hips and the pivot parts of your body, it's also that the strength that you need to build over time. So yeah, it looks like, okay, how are we going to do this? We don't have the apparatus at home, but it's more of conditioning more than anything else. Because
Yeah.
a lot of artists, especially those that are new, they kind of look past this and they're like, you know what, I'm just going to go up and just going to fly.
Yeah.
But after a few years, you kind of find, okay, this is what I need to condition really and prepare my
Right.
body before I get into the game.
Yeah. It's more than just getting up there and flying.
Yeah.
There is
Yeah.
work that needs to be prepped with
A
it.
lot of work, a lot of work.
Yeah. What other types of coaching do you do on the app?
Actually, I do pre and post natal because I'm also a woman coach.
Okay.
So I do pre and postnatal coaching and women coach in general, like
Yeah.
teenagers, single moms. Oh, sorry, single women,
Yeah.
perimenopause, menopause. I mean,
Yeah.
all, you know, women's phases in their lives are
Yeah.
very different. And
Absolutely.
yeah, so those and clean eating, you
Yeah.
know, yeah. So those are the other coaching styles that I do in the app.
Great. I love it all. And then how has trapeze and flying changed your life and even your illness that you've had?
Well, it's taught me to really take care of myself.
Yeah.
It especially with athletes, again, if you see other athletes are like, you know what, I'm just gonna drink and party and celebrate and
Yeah.
whatnot. For me, it's like a lot of things. I believe that with health and wellness, it's I always mention these 5 things. So it's nutrition, movement, recovery, sleep, and mindset. So all of those trapeze has taught me, and I think I've grown into a much responsible person for myself,
Yeah.
more than anything else. Because at the end of the day, you really just have yourself, right? I
Yeah.
mean, and I just want to be able to celebrate the life that I have. It feels weird to say that, but it's actually true. Especially
Yeah.
right now, there's the pandemic's happening,
Right.
and we
Yes.
really need to take care of ourselves, and not just for ourselves, really, but the family that we have.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
yeah, so trapeze has taught me that. It just looks like it doesn't, but it kind of teaches you all of those things to
I like
just
it. One of the things, so you said nutrition, movement, recovery, sleep. What was the last one? Was it
and the
mindfulness?
mindset.
Mindset. That's right. Okay.
Yeah, because it's a lot of the deep health. It's
Yeah.
not just, yeah, the physical aspect of sorts, but it's your deep health, whatever's inside your head and in your heart. So
Yeah.
even spiritually, because you kind of
Let's add that one in. You got to add a 6th one now.
yeah, at times you kind of doubt, you kind of doubt yourself. I mean, is there anything here in the universe for me, right?
Yeah.
So kind of
One of the
teaches you
things
that.
that I love about what you're doing and helping people with is like bringing it back to themselves. I feel like
Yes.
life can feel so out of control. And that's the one thing we all want. We're like, I can't control this. We want that, but we don't understand that we already have it within
Yeah,
ourselves. Like the
definitely.
control is within us. And so I love
Yes.
that you're really helping people. And like you said, acting as that guide to, it's almost like bringing people back to themselves.
Definitely, because you kind of lose yourself in the process,
Yeah,
right? Especially
absolutely.
everyone's so busy, especially everyone's working at home. Like
Yes.
a lot of things are happening in our lives. And if you, as coaches, and I believe that if you kind of bring them back to where their strengths are, where they're working really good,
Yeah.
and then channel that out to other parts of themselves, you kind of bring out the best in them, and that itself is fulfilling as a coach.
Yes,
Right?
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
What does your life look like now? Like, what is your training like? Are you guys back to performing?
Right now, no, because
Okay.
it's so strict here.
Yeah. Okay.
Although I was also invited to other countries to
Okay.
perform.
Wow.
Unfortunately, I can't leave
Yeah.
as well. So I
Right.
can't go
Yeah.
out. So right now what we're doing is some of the other coaches are doing stunt work.
Okay.
But for me, it's just really showing up every day. So I
Yeah.
have this routine of, I have this window for myself more than
Yeah.
anything else. It's always, okay, I just go back to my priorities and my goal as a person, and then outside of what my values are and
Mhm.
whatnot. So it's just really showing up and training. Training is sort of my meditation for myself.
Mhm.
So training and just making sure that I have, again, the nutrition there, getting
Yeah.
enough sleep, recovering from a training session, and
Yeah.
also just training mindfulness on that.
Yeah. So it sounded, because you kind of cut out for a little bit there. So just to kind of recap, you said it's like just kind of doing things for yourself still. Are you able to fly and like use the studio, or is that also
No,
shut down? That's something
actually,
you can't
it's
do.
closed right now. The
Okay.
entire rig, because it's a big rig. It's like
Okay.
800 square meter rig. So
Wow.
it's closed right now.
Okay.
But I do have a lot of equipment at home that I
Okay.
use to train
Okay.
circus athleticism. So it's not just trapeze, but it's a lot of the other movements and flying, really, aerial apparatus.
Yeah. I think I saw that circus athleticism as maybe one of your skills on TaskHuman. So I guess you don't have to be, wanting to fly in order to do this type of training with you, right? Like, I'm
Yes.
like, I don't know if I would ever want to fly like with although it may help me get over that fear we were talking
Yeah.
about, right? But so even for someone like me, so the circus athleticism, working with you in that could be something that could be beneficial.
Definitely,
Oh,
definitely. I mean,
yeah.
like if you're wanting to do aerial hoops or
Right.
aerial silks,
Okay.
even rope, lyra. I mean, a lot of
Yeah.
those apparatuses that are in the studio, you can.
Okay.
That definitely is a part of circus athleticism.
Oh, I love it all. Okay. This has been so great learning a little bit more about this. Is there anything else you want to share with everybody?
Well, actually, I'm just really so excited that you have this video podcast and featuring a lot of your coaches.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I'm also just really grateful to be a part of TaskHuman. I think that's the only thing that I wanted to share. I love that you have this community, and I love how
Yeah.
much you take care of your coaches
Yeah.
in general. Yeah.
Oh,
So
good. Awesome. Well, thank you. And thank you for being here too and helping everyone, and being there for your clients and also sharing your story with us here through this
definitely.
platform as well. So yeah, if you're out there and you're looking for, something a little different, a different type of
Yeah.
training, reach out to Candy. And
Yeah.
also pre-postnatal women, if you need help with nutrition or meal prep, if you're feeling like your life's out of control and you just want help reminding yourself that you really do have control as well, I think
Yes.
Candy's coaching is going to be really amazing and something that you're going to want to check out.
Yeah,
Yay.
definitely. And I'm always going to be here for everyone, really.
Yeah. Good. Good. Well, thank you again so much for joining us. And to all of you listening, thank you again for tuning in. And that's it for today. I guess we'll see you next time.
Right. Thank you. Thank you
Bye.
so much.
Yeah.
Bye.